Everything's running a little slow with the crappy weather we're having. But I'm very, very happy that you all made it out. This was the first test for Pitch Night NYC for bad weather. We've had 4 so far. Every one of them was beautiful weather, so you guys are my warriors. Thank you. And tonight, we're going to have 4 startups. And, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Spacious for letting us use the space. This is their flagship location, and this is the main spot that they have the rest all the time. And then they have various restaurant spaces that they use throughout the day and various times all throughout the city. Really cool places. So we got Mike up the back. He's from Spacious. He's our rep. If you haven't already done so, have a chat with him. And in a sec, we're going to have our judges come up here, and they're going to introduce ourselves. They'll be grading the pitch competition for tonight. All right. I'm ready. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. Welcome. My name is Gino Parati. I'm a culture and communication strategist, and I look forward to hearing the pitches this evening. Anything else that you want me to say about myself?
Your discussion.
Okay. Well, I've been in New York 2 years, so welcome.
Hi, I'm Shannon Daniels. I am the founder and CEO of Incaptive, which is a presentation sales and marketing platform that's actually rolling out this month, and you'll be seeing it at future pitch nights because we're going to be teaming up to allow all of the people pitching to use it to deliver their pitches. And I'm also one of the leaders of Stanford Innovation Week, which is a big series, 11-day series of events, over 150 speakers and events that's kicking off tomorrow night in Stamford, Connecticut. So if you don't have plans over the weekend or all next week, stop down to Stanford and see us.
Hi, my name is Timmy Wapa, CEO of Beast Enterprises. We help companies raise capital outside of traditional venture capital. So that might be like equity crowdfunding, for a moment, tokenized offerings, and basically tapping into outside of the typical kind of Silicon Valley traditional VC approach. As well as started something called the Columbia Angels. It's for alumni of Columbia University to learn how to invest in a startup and figure out what that is all about, and create a platform for entrepreneurs, not just Columbia entrepreneurs, but also anyone in general, to just have a little bit more of a relaxed engagement with investors and having investors understand what they should look for in a company.
All right. Thank you to the judges. And just a quick rundown of what to expect tonight. So you're going to see 4 startups do their pitch. We might have a 5th. We have a visitor here from India who is in town to pitch in New York, in America, so we might give them a few minutes if we have. And they're going to have 6 minutes to do their pitch. So at the 5-minute mark, pay attention startups, at the 5-minute mark, you'll hear 1 bell, 6 minutes, 2. All right? And then the presentations are going to be scored according to this criteria. The pitch will be out of 10, the Q&A will be out of 10, and the viability and the progress that you guys have made so far are given 5 each. And then for everybody in the audience, phones on silent. If you haven't done so, please. And we are recording the event. We have Mike from Real BC TV live streaming the event. Really cool company that is creating a startup channel. And also, if you're posting, use the hashtags PitchNightNYC. Love to have extra content. Thank you. All right, so we're going to get started with our first one, Leisurely.
My name is Dan. And this is Fawad. And we're the co-founders of Leisurely, the easiest way to book unique culinary experiences led by New York City's top restaurants and chefs.
So Leisurely is
on a mission to help New York City's top restaurants manage their underutilized resources, whether that's their space and their time. And we do that through ticketed culinary experiences. And these experiences range from cooking classes, pop-up dinners, and talks. And the really unique value prop for the consumer is that they're all led by the executive chef. So it's a great way to interact with your favorite chefs in a really intimate setting.
So over the last decade, restaurants have faced the problem of increasing labor, rent costs. The restaurant industry in general has traditionally thin profit margins, roughly on average about 5%. So if the increasing cost to do business, especially with the increase in minimum wage costs, in New York City alone, for instance, it has the highest square footage price in the country of 150 square foot on average. So it's really hard to run a restaurant, to be successful at a restaurant, to not close. That's why about 1 in 5 restaurants close within the first 5 years. So what we're doing is we're essentially providing them a solution using their underutilized space, underutilized resources to create additional revenue streams for them.
So we operate in a market that's a bit over $800 billion US restaurant industry. And what we're trying to offer through these restaurants that we work with are experiences. So more than ever, that's what people are looking for. They want something beyond the typical dining experience that you've come to expect at a restaurant. And that's why these experiences are so important. It's a really great way to better understand the restaurant, the reason why they started in the first place. And by 2020, experience revenues are expected to hit over $180 billion.
All right, so we'll do now back to a little intro about us and our backgrounds and why we're uniquely qualified to solve this problem. So I came from a background in food and hospitality. I've worked in and out of restaurants, both in the front of the house side, the back of the house side. I also worked recently with a company called Cater to Me, if any of you are familiar. They're a catering service. They essentially act as the middleman between businesses and people and local restaurants, and I ran operations for them. So I got, both the startup experience, the food experience and background, passionate about food, obviously passionate about restaurants.
And so in terms of my background, I've always worked in the intersection of tech and hospitality, as well as ticketed experiences. So I more recently launched and expanded the New York City market for Y-Plan, which was, if you guys are familiar, a last-minute ticketing startup for really amazing experiences, which ultimately got acquired by Time Out.
All right, so onto our app. So we have an iOS app out currently in beta mode. And through the app, you can look at our upcoming events. It's a beautifully curated list. You just easily scroll through, see what's upcoming, and you're able to book an event within 2 taps.
Yeah, so the reason that restaurants really like to work with us is because it's a realized revenue stream for them. They're getting in the types of consumers and diners that they're actively trying to attract, and money is realized rather quickly. It's $1,200 net average per class for a 2-hour experience. That's essentially very low effort for the executive chef and their team, so they really see the value, especially when they're not open before service, and that's the value that we're continuing to bring to top New York City restaurants.
And on the consumer side, we're essentially feeding the need and desire for the food-hungry consumer. People that love food. I mean, you guys are all familiar with Mind of a Chef, Chef's Table, all these shows that have been so popular lately. We're essentially taking that and providing an in-person experience of that. So the customers are consumers that have come to events. They get to not only interact with the chefs, but they also get to interact with other food-loving consumers in an intimate setting.
So here are just a few of our sample events. We had a pasta foundations class with Chef Michael Ferraro, who is a bit of a celebrity chef. He's a recurring character on Bar Rescue, and he's the owner of Delicatessen in Soho, beautiful restaurant. And here's one with Chef Carlo Biggie of Gemma in Soho. So the goal really is to work with the top restaurants that are constantly pushing the envelope to provide, again, a really unique experience outside of that dining, and that's what we're continuing to do.
All right, just in terms of current traction, we've seen 42% on average revenue growth month over month. We've done over 40,000 in revenue since August of 2017. We've seen 75% user growth month over month. So essentially, we've seen consistent growth every month in all our numbers.
Yeah, so the way we make money, the main line is through transactional revenue. So we take a split for every ticket sold. And down the line, we'll introduce more relevant channels. But that's the main thing, in addition to private events, which is, again, a great value add for our partners. So we are just bringing them more monthly bookings for these private experiences.
And our adoption strategy is pretty simple. Social media is huge. We actually have a great built-in strategy where the chefs are essentially promoting their own events. So we essentially get free marketing because they obviously want to promote their own events. So that's really beneficial as well. Assuming we have to wrap up now, but thank you for listening, and we're open to questions.
All right, so I have a few questions. It looked like you were just starting to move into your marketing and sales strategy. So first and foremost, I'd like to know a little bit more about that. How you said the chefs are basically free marketing for you. You're using social media marketing. Do you have a paid sales and marketing strategy as well, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so the majority of our sales and marketing strategy is social media based because that's just the way the food industry works nowadays. Most of the success of restaurants is they've been able to hit their target markets and always been through Instagram. 70% of photos on Instagram are food based. Food influencers are a huge aspect of that as well, and we incorporate them into every one of our events. We usually have at least one food influencer come, and then they do postings about it, which brings in more people. And then to the point about the chefs, the chefs obviously want to promote their own events. They want the tickets to sell out, but in turn, that provides marketing not only for their event, but it provides it back to our platform. So it's essentially another free marketing channel that we get from our chef partners.
Okay, and then you said that since August of 2017, so just a little over a year, you have $40,000 in revenue. What are your plans to scale this, and what are your projections for revenue going forward?
Yeah, our biggest push right now essentially is to expand our restaurant network. We started off very slow. It was kind of just like a pet project. But we wanted to be transparent with when we actually started the thing. But now we're focused on trying to get as many events going per month as possible, with a goal of 25 in the near-term future, which will obviously scale up our revenue basis, especially at $1,200 on average an event. From there, we're looking to just continue to expand our offerings every month, shooting for eventually 50 to 100 events a month. Eventually expanding that into other cities. Revenue potential-wise, we've definitely crunched numbers, and we project for New York alone, with about 100 events going on a month, we project about $5 million in revenue.
Just to quickly add to other ways that we want to, other revenue channels, we want to sort of include these upsells. So at the moment, we're providing free photography to these restaurants before the experience, paid ad in some cases. So we want to make that sort of add-on suites that they could pay for. And then our target for at least New York City is around 2,400 restaurants that meet our criteria. There's well over 24,000 that don't. And we want to sort of introduce this ticketing widget where they can run their own experiences while still powering the ticketing behind that.
Okay, that was a good lead into my first question I wanted to ask, which was, are you looking to do, for you to host their tickets, so it's going to be their event and you're powering their event, versus something like an Airbnb experience where you're creating a brand and then selling something through a brand itself? So is Leisurely going to be a curated brand with a specific image?
Yes, so we're very specific in actually pushing that brand. We want to create the Leisurely brand, exactly as you said, very similar to the Airbnb experience brand. So we're not just the ticketing platform in that sense. We are more than that for sure.
So you're not behind the scenes. They will know that they're going through Leisurely for the experience.
Exactly, and we want to have total control over that to make sure that every consumer that comes to our platform is getting an awesome experience that meets our standards.
Do you have any idea with your current customer base what that looks like? Who's interested in this stuff so far to be able to have a target customer?
Yeah, so I mean, just so I understand your question correctly, who our ideal customer is?
Ideal and or like what the people now. You've run the analytics, you're figuring out some trending of the people who are interested in this stuff, the demographics of it.
Yeah, so in terms of our demo, it skews slightly female, but it's essentially balanced in terms of it being 50-50. And these are people with disposable income. So average take home is 75K, and they're just really looking for something beyond that typical dining experience. They're well-versed in the New York City dining scene, and they want something a bit more.
Do they live here or are they visiting from
So a lot of these people live here. So most are based in Manhattan, a few in Brooklyn, and they're mostly coming after work or during the weekends, during their downtime.
Do you know why they're coming?
Yeah, I mean everything from date night, for instance, is always a good option. But also, the people that come are generally passionate about food in some way or another. The term foodie obviously gets thrown around a lot. Everyone's a foodie nowadays to some degree. So it's people that just are passionate about the medium of food. They want to learn more. They want a cool experience. But then, obviously, like I said, we've seen people come on dates. We've seen people bring their parents from out of town to events. All sorts of. We've definitely seen a range of in our consumer base.
Cool. I just have two more questions. First one's still along the same line of questioning, and that is, are you selling a food experience or are you selling a social experience?
Yeah, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think there's a little bit of both in there because we're selling a food experience for sure. That's the central idea of it, right? They're getting this awesome experience with the chef, but at the same time, it's a very organic setting where we keep the classes pretty small so that people can interact in a way that's it's very intimate. So we find that the consumers that are coming, they're buying tickets and then they're interacting with people in the class. We've seen people even exchange numbers afterwards and everything. So there definitely is a social aspect, and we are going to continue to kind of build that out further as well as we build out the platform.
Final question is, have you considered partnerships with other apps to help market, and if so, what would those partnerships be with? Who would they be with?
Absolutely. We're talking about date night, for instance, right? So Bumble, OkCupid, all these different dating apps are definitely great potential partners. There's also meetup groups. We've done a few of those already. Pretty much any social-based grouping is definitely a potential partner.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So, have you raised capital?
Not yet.
Have you sought capital?
We're in the early stages of starting that process now. So we're hoping to raise a round within the near future.
What is the biggest pushback that you receive?
In terms of raising?
Yeah, or just kind of the first question that someone has that hints at skepticism.
I think market size is the question. How large the actual potential is would probably be if we had a question or any pushback initially. Again, obviously we're very early stages of just starting the process now of raising. So just from that limited experience, that would be the one. We obviously have a response to that, and we believe strongly that the market is large. As we said, obviously the restaurant industry alone is $800 billion. We don't need to tap into necessarily that much, but it's 24,000 restaurants across New York City alone. Let alone it's a model that's very easily scalable to other cities across the U.S. and not only major cities, pretty much anywhere.
Have you found potential competing competitors with a similar model in different locations?
Similar models, not quite exactly the same. So like Airbnb experiences, for instance, right? That is arguably similar in certain capacities. However, if you look at their food offerings, they're very minuscule as to what they have right now. We have a focus on the food and hospitality aspect in what we're providing there. Another competitor is, what's it called?
So what's it called? If only. So but they're very much more broad. It goes beyond culinary. In terms of culinary itself, we see Talk, if anyone's familiar with Talk. So they are sort of like the level above Resi in terms of just getting those really, really selective restaurants. And part of their offering are those experiences. And we are now noticing Resi as well with that, platform built in, now going to that next step with experiences.
And then, obviously, Eventbrite, Course Horse, those type of things. However, the difference between us and them obviously is that we're very curated in our selection, whereas those are open platforms where pretty much anyone can go on and advertise their ware.
Yeah, that kind of was my next question is, outside of the revenue that you've been generating, and if you're making a case for investment, what IP are you developing that's unique to you and something that potential acquirers, like Eventbrite just filed to go public. Their mandate is essentially to acquire companies. That's what they're raising for. What do you think that you have that they don't?
Yeah.
So, I think one of the first things is just being very grassroots and organic about it. Creating personal relationships with our consumers and with our restaurants from day one. Letting them know that we want to be an extension of their restaurant and see through to their success. And I think that really goes a long way. So, yeah, granted, it's not something that's, tech-like patentable. But since our focus is on restaurants, that's something that we see as very valuable and protectable, in our opinion.
Also, just to add to that, what we're actually doing, with having the executive chefs of these restaurants teach cooking classes and things like that, this isn't a product that already exists. This is something that we're actually creating with every restaurant partner that we have. So in that sense, that is original. No one is really doing quite that. If they're offering cooking classes, it's at some cooking school where a teacher most likely probably just teaches on the weekends. We're having people like Michael Chernow and Michael Ferraro,
Miro
Skokovich from Guernsey Tavern, guys at the top of their game teaching these events.
Just one last question. Can you give us an example of just one event that you had that really made you happy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'd probably say it would be like one of our earlier ones, and it was with Chef Nozamu Abe, who now runs a really great omakase restaurant called Sushi Naz in the Upper East Side. And we were sort of with him through day one before he even launched the restaurant, which was super, super exciting, that he entrusted us to, get his name out there, do these sushi making classes. And, we would always talk after the class and he would tell me, yeah, it's coming soon, it's launching soon. He gave me a t-shirt, which was like, yeah, I'm part of the team. And that's really what does it for us. We love to hear updates with our partners, what's going on. And if we are part of that success and we've contributed in any way, then we're really doing our job.
I actually have a couple of follow-up questions now. One is related to, you said really your personal relationships are your cornerstone, your differentiator, you don't have any IP around that. When you start to scale this and start to go beyond New York City, for example, how do you continue that? And what is your plan for doing that? And what would be the cost per acquisition of maintaining those relationships, and how does that affect your bottom line?
Yeah, I think obviously putting a big focus on the account management side, and account management specifically with our restaurant partners, is really important. Making sure that they understand that we're in this together, we're partners in this, and helping them to continue to grow their restaurant, grow their brand awareness through these events. I think a focus on that is really important, and that's something we definitely strive to do. But again, too, it's not just it's those experiences we're building with them, but also because the product, again, is not something that currently exists, and we're building that out with them, essentially. So that also creates that loyalty, that interaction, that relationship.
All right, great job. Next up, we have Inner Circles.
To face the audience. But I'm going to wait for the slide deck to come up. Good evening, everybody. My name is Vikram Rajan. I am actually the co-founder of a marketing firm called PhoneBlogger.net. And I am very proud to announce that just this week on Monday, we launched the beta version of Inner Circles. Inner Circles promises better LinkedIn results in less time. So as we go forward here in the slide deck, let's see if I can do that. So Inner Circles is a freemium LinkedIn add-on that groups posts from those you choose. You can quickly like, comment, and share your VIP and get more results from their Inner Circles. So does anyone here actually have a LinkedIn account? Okay, almost like everyone does. All right, now who actually uses LinkedIn? Yeah, it's like a dismal, huge gap because, quite frankly, LinkedIn sucks. If any of us have actually tried to start engaging with our VIP or engaging with other people's posts, we realize that there's a huge issue. Now, some people use LinkedIn for job hunting, and that's usually what people think of LinkedIn as. But quite frankly, the way LinkedIn makes money is through sales professionals who are doing cold outreach, cold contacting, using their paid service of Sales Navigator, and that includes recruiters. Now, our clientele typically are those who are subject matter experts, professional service providers who are interested in thought leadership. But quite frankly, posting content on LinkedIn is kind of one half of it. The other half is to make sure that you are engaging with other people's content. Because after all, as the old saying goes, what you do unto others, others will do unto you. You know, that's the golden rule. You gotta pay it forward. The more you like others, the more you comment, the more you share, the more you email, introduce others, the more others will engage with your content. They'll engage your professional services. They'll remember you, recommend you, refer you to others. But unfortunately, when I tell my clients to sit down and go through their LinkedIn home feed, and if any of you do that literally right now on your LinkedIn app, you're gonna be like, who the are all these people? Who the heck are all these people? Because what we end up doing on LinkedIn is start collecting connections. So we end up having hundreds, thousands, multi-thousands connections from all the networking, conferences, and just people along the way. So our home feed ends up becoming clutter. So we barely have time for LinkedIn as it is, and then we end up having to scroll and scroll and scroll, so we just don't bother at all. We just kind of give up on LinkedIn networking altogether and just kind of post content, and it just becomes kind of post and run. We're here to change that. We have a solution to focus on your VIP relationships, and kind of let me show you how it works. Basically, there's an overlay mode and there's a non-overlay mode depending on your preference, but you can basically use Inner Circles as a desktop, laptop extension right now. The mobile app is coming soon. We literally launched a beta on Monday. It's fast, it's focused, dare I say, makes LinkedIn fun to use because it's actually productive. You're actually able to hang out and engage with your VIP. This becomes the initial interface. It's very easy here. You can type or paste names. That's like the #1 issue of segmenting any kind of a contact list. Most of us who are in the business development, sales mode of any corporation, we have lists already. We have a CRM or some other database or spreadsheet, a list of our clients. We usually keep a list of our prospects. We usually have a list of those who actually actively give us referrals, our referral relationships, our influencers. All you have to do is copy and paste their names, and we do the intelligent work to kind of bring that circle together. Now, even if you don't have a list, we can create circles automatically based on keyword search. For example, our clients tend to be boutique law firms. So I'm able to type in the word lawyer or attorney and automatically cull together an inner circle out of my thousands of connections. You may want to stay top of mind with your media connections to get interviewed. Well, the best way to get interviewed is by engaging with the media influencer's own posts. So all you have to do is kind of put in some of the keywords that a media influencer would write on his or her own profile. They call themselves a reporter, a journalist, a podcast host. You type that in and we can automatically bring together the couple of dozen or maybe 100 media influencers that you're already connected with, but you are pretty much ignoring because they're lost in the clutter and the shuffle of things. Now, you don't have to do it automatically. You can basically have that keyword search and then automatically sort if that's your preference, but it's really the magic of it. It's really fast and fun to circle your connections. This is an option aspect of Inner Circles, but it's fast, focused, and fun. You can use LinkedIn.com as usual. You're just now able to be that much more focused with it if you choose to use the overlay. You just click on that label, and then basically you use a very simple user interface. LinkedIn has gotten cluttered between ads and sponsored posts and all sorts of stuff that can be a lot of noise and not necessarily the signals that we're looking for from our referral relationships. It's a focused user experience. We're able to even track the VIP engagement. After all, we want to know, are we really contributing value to our VIP referral relationships? So we're able to track, you probably can't see in the back, but we can track how often you're liking, you're commenting, and you're sharing your connections posts. How do we make money? There's going to basically, everyone gets 2 circles free, so I encourage you to use Inner Circles and use it for free. Obviously, tell your friends. If you feel a need for a 3rd circle, $4 a month, pretty simple. You're able to do emailing through this platform. It's $4, pretty simple, and of course it can scale from there as we use a user database. You get ads and affiliates. How do we grow? Through word of mouth referrals and viral growth. Users have an option to send automated greetings. We have user email footers. Influencers are huge. There's a huge community of LinkedIn consultants and coaches that are recommending Inner Circles because we recommend them through a higher help form and salutations. And this is an example of an email that even non-users get to show the engagement that people are doing with their posts using Inner Circles. I can answer this a little bit more in the Q&A. Ultimately, there once was a lad on LinkedIn who had hundreds of connections within. So frustrated was he when he scrolled his home feed, he could barely see his VIP mixed in. Inner Circles then came to save. 'Tis a miracle, so he raved. Engaged in his hocus pocus, he found he can now focus on those he chose that mattered the mostest. Thank you very much.
Is there a process within LinkedIn to become a sort of official partner or provider of a SaaS solution that LinkedIn is not interested in engaging?
If I'm understanding your question is kind of, are we able to do this legitimately?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to register and become a registered API partner. So if you're familiar with the API, it's kind of how software share data. So we're able to tap in. We're not like scraping stuff or anything. Yeah, so we're able to tap in and use the API of LinkedIn. So and they want to be a platform. They want people plugging in. They just want the right players, and we're one of them.
All right, awesome. Have you looked at a company that's also a partner that is registered as an API? Get a sense of their of what kind of revenue they do, or what kind of how many users they have.
Yeah, I mean you can think of systems like Hootsuite or Buffer. Those are social media marketing companies that do scheduling and social media management. And they have traction because of LinkedIn as well, and they're a registered partner. So, are we like them? No, we're not competitors to them. They focus on the posting aspect. We're focusing on engagement, but that's an example. So thank you for the question. Yeah.
Do you ever, who's your greatest competitor here? Is it LinkedIn?
You would think so. So LinkedIn has Sales Navigator. That's a huge revenue driver for them. We're not looking to replace Sales Navigator. They have a tagging mechanism with that where you can tag leads. Unfortunately, it ends up being where you click on that and you go to the profile. You actually don't go to posts. I don't think LinkedIn is a competitor because we're actually driving traffic and user engagement for LinkedIn. We value them. It's just that we're looking to kind of improve on the user experience of that. In terms of competitors, it's apathy, it's disgust, it's people giving up out of desperation because they're thinking this LinkedIn thing doesn't work, this LinkedIn thing is a waste of time, or I just go there when I want a job, or I just post my content and run. So in terms of competitors, it's changing people's habits, so we need to make the onboarding easy, if not fun, and gamified, and that's what we're looking to do. But in terms of actual companies, I don't think so.
How would you think about future expansion of services or platforms?
Yeah, so that's tremendous. So We want to stay within the professional world. We feel that there's a good ability to monetize, but there are a lot of niche platforms. You can call them social networks, but they're professional networks. For example, in the healthcare world for physicians, there's Doximity. In the real estate world, there's Active Rain, which is literally for real estate professionals to share. JD Supra is a way for lawyers to connect, but there are about half a dozen lawyer-to-lawyer networking platforms that are all kind of vying and fighting it out. Same thing within the CPA community. They're kind of fighting it out just now, and we'll be able to tap into those platforms so that if I'm looking to stay top of mind with my CPA relationships, well, they may be more active on a CPA peer platform, but this platform can tap into it and aggregate it, consolidate it. Did I answer the question?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Privacy
Yep.
and pricing.
What about privacy? What do you?
Privacy meaning, are you collecting some data, even on the kind of big data sense?
Well, so there is a potential for advertising. So the information that we can gather from our users are semi-public, and they are definitely volunteered. So they're signing in with their LinkedIn account. So yes, we have all their LinkedIn demographic profile information. So we can now, based on user-based growth, show them specific ads based on that. Is that a privacy issue? They've kind of already consented for that, and as long as we're adding value, they're consenting to us. We're not manipulating that. In terms of pricing model, it's a freemium. So it's basically scaling where it's $4 a month for every third, fourth, fifth circle that you want. And then there's a transactional model for email credits. Right now, silly, you're not able to actually email LinkedIn posts to anyone. You can only share it within the LinkedIn network. Not quite sure why they do that. However, we enable people to actually email a post to someone that you would want. And then what we end up doing is CCing both the original poster and your new connection. And we're developing connections. Of course, there's a nice inner circles footer on that. And to do that, it's 4 cents an email, which technically is more expensive than MailChimp and Constant Contact, but the convenience factor, I believe, because it's 4 cents, and you're buying it in blocks of 100, so $4. But I think the ad revenue is potentially much better, bigger.
Yeah, I'm curious about the $4
Yeah.
model. It's not $5, it's not $2, right?
Yeah.
$4. How did you come up with that?
Yeah, arbitrarily. I grew up on 4 Tanglewood Lane, so 4 is just a favorite number of mine. I also feel that it's small enough to enable anyone to say, yeah, I need that third circle. The whole point of giving 2 circles is to show that the whole point is to be organized, because you end up having an inner circle of like 100 connections, you end up having to keep scrolling anyway, and it's like, well, we kind of defeated the purpose. Ideally, I think a circle of 20 people makes sense. It's almost like a round table where you're facing 20 people. So that's kind of how I said, you know what, how can I look at the $4 as pretty simple, but it can scale. So as people, I think, get productively addicted to using this and staying focused with their networking, the 4 becomes easily 8, 12 onward.
Okay. And then thinking out of any idea of how many people on LinkedIn actually paid for anything through LinkedIn, like paying for premium versus just free LinkedIn users?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't have that data readily available. I don't think they actually disclose that data. But we can glean that really out of the 500 million, it's probably less than 100 million, if probably closer to 10 million. And that's just arbitrary guess. But it's not going to be a huge percentage, but we're tapping into actually that medium between the 100 million people and the 500 million user base that they have now. That is also growing exponentially, but right now. So yeah, no, but that's the market that we're looking at.
Okay.
And which is at a $70 a month mark for Sales Navigator.
But we didn't see that one up there.
The Sales Navigator, no, that's
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's offering
Okay.
$70. So if you want to talk about a competitor, are we competing with them? We're a substitution. But
Okay.
eventually I think people can gain value by even going to Sales Navigator, that's fine. But we have a different value.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so a couple questions. When did you start work on Inner Circles? Concept to where you are now?
Yeah, concept was mid-April. So I run a marketing firm called Practice Marketing Advisors, and so we are turning into a marketing technology company. So we're in the midst of developing a testimonial marketing application. And in that process of, as we're going to market, which is, we had to take it off market, I started using LinkedIn that much more heavily. I also run Phone Blogger, which is a content marketing firm for law firms and accounting firms. And I help my clients essentially I encourage them to use LinkedIn. I don't help them at all until Inner Circles. So in mid-April was when I essentially, out of desperation, said there has to be a better way. What if we could do this? And that's when we started bringing this together.
Okay, and how many users do you have at this point in time? 2 users?
Maybe more. I haven't checked the metrics today, but yeah, we started on Monday. It's really out on beta, and literally my clients don't even know about it. So,
okay,
congrats.
All right. So, what's to keep LinkedIn from saying, "Hey, this is a great idea. We've got we're now partnered with Facebook, and we've got all these genius developers at our disposal to just cut you out and make it part of their premium membership."
Absolutely. So that's a great question. It goes to the other gentleman's original question of, are we going to tap into other networks? So the key for us is faster scale and then bringing in these other platforms. Could LinkedIn do it? Well, quite frankly, anyone could do it. Will they do it? I doubt it. Because they've got a very solid business model. They are focused on their ad revenue and their sales navigator. So could they? They could, but it's not in their interest to do so. So we're serving a specific market that LinkedIn doesn't really want. It's that solo, freelancer, thought leader community, which is in the hundreds of millions, but doesn't necessarily pay LinkedIn.
And so how are you protecting yourself? Do you have any IP around this?
So it's our software that enables it. So we're bringing together the API, and in that sense, I guess the software code is IP, but we haven't protected it in that traditional sense.
Okay. And you got asked about privacy. Have you done any research into GDPR requirements?
Yep. So there are GDPR requirements in terms of kind of two aspects. One, making sure that people know what they are revealing, which we do in the beginning. So what I didn't show was kind of the opt-in to the terms of agreement, and that's where the GDPR is. The other is kind of making sure that that term of service is actually very easily understandable, and we do. I mean, it's written in plain language, and you can see it when you install Inner Circles. It's literally the first thing is to opt into our terms of service, and that includes GDPR. So yeah.
Okay, and final question, this is more about the product itself. As you were explaining it, I was trying to understand exactly how it's identifying my VIPs, all of that good stuff. So you showed a slide there where you saw the little circles next to people's names.
Yep.
Do I still need, does it filter down just to the people with circles, or do I still have to search through my feeds for the people with circles?
So think of creating your circles in basically two ways, and then there's a third way. The easiest way that I'm encouraging people to use Inner Circles is to paste in names. This, you don't even need any of those circles, right? Call them dots. You don't need any of that because you already know your VIP influencers. At least you know a bulk of them, because these are your clients, your prospects, etc. Right? So you're pasting that in, and that's kind of the drop-dead easiest way, where you're not having to shuffle through things, because hopefully you're somewhat organized. And not all of us are 100% organized, but you're maybe 80, halfway there. The second way is that automatic circles, where it's search-based keywords. So we're able to create, now you're able to then curate further. You're able to subtract names from it or add names to it later, but at least it gets you 90% of the way there. And then the third way, if you want to, is the manual way. As you're scrolling LinkedIn, and you go, yeah, I totally forgot about her. Boom, you click the dot, add her to a circle, create a new circle right there with the plus symbol. So you don't have to go through the tedium of search, but that's a natural process. You're going to use LinkedIn. We're not looking to replace LinkedIn. We're creating a magnifying glass to hone in and create that user experience.
So I guess that's what I'm trying to understand is, now that you've got this, you've put people in your circles, you've done your filters, whichever way one of the three ways you've done it, how am I knowing when I go into LinkedIn, how am I sorting just by my circles? How do I know just who's in my circles? Or am I still going through my whole feed?
No, you don't have to. So once you've already created your circles, right here on top it says focus on your inner circles, and you click one of these, and you basically get into a simple user interface, which is our user interface. And here, I don't know if you can see it, let's see if the next screen has it, no. But here you could collapse or expand, and when you collapse it, it'll basically be an accordion of names. So essentially you're ending up using this interface for your focus networking. Does that make sense? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. And of course there's this URL icon here that we end up flashing every now and then to kind of enable people to kind of drop down a menu there. And it's basically this data that we'll be able to port over into a mobile app to keep it really simple. Yeah, so, yeah, thank you.
All right, great job. Next up, we have Katia.
All right. My name is Sean from Kadyai. We are developing a platform where we help farmers in developing countries getting richer while helping buyers, consumer actually save money on fresh fruit, fresh produce. All right, I'm gonna wait for. Okay. Okay. All right. Kadyai is started from a few researchers, professors, entrepreneurs in Thailand. We are discussing like why these problems keep happening every single year, like oversupplies of food, like overgrowing, also like crop ruins, farmers losing money on like hazardous weather conditions, or like the air pollution from like burning crops, or like using or like from growing from like pesticides and everything. So we found out that like farmers, they don't even have data. They don't use data. They only use like what they're told, what old knowledge, is traditions. Like they grow whatever they used to grow, or like what others growing, or like what's trendy, what's getting expensive, what is selling well right now. But when they grow, by the time they are selling, that price already dropped. Like and they stay poor. They don't utilize data well because they don't know how. They don't collect data. They don't have plan. And they stay unbanked. They don't have access to financial services. Because nobody's having trace of their credits, of their feasibility, or their financials. So they stay poor. It's a vicious cycle. They can't get out of it. They can't get out of poverty. Right, so we are based in Thailand. So this is what we do. This is from our pilot farms in Thailand. We installed a weather station, IoT devices on the farms to collect data on soil and weather data, and we collect real-time data and create this dashboard for our developers, for our AI scientists, and for the farmers, for the buyers as well, to monitor what's going on with the farms. We collect data of the soil, the plants, they are growing, and we actually have the AI data. The AI engine that analyze for your type of farm, for the plant that you're growing, the type of soil you have, the weather. What will grow well here, and how much money you're gonna make when you sell in 3 months time, 6 months time, and also we're gonna have the dashboard for the buyer, the contract buyer, or the business buyer, the restaurants that they could come and buy stuff from you when it's still unripe, or when you start growing, just to get better price. You can monitor them as well, how it's being taken care of. Is the price gonna be what they're expecting? So farmers actually provide data through the kits or the station that we install, and also we're gonna have the precision farming engine, the AI that developed from the experts that we have in our team. So we're gonna provide the AI solution for both farmers and buyers, and we're going to have also the marketplace where farmers can put the products on there. The buyers, it could be retail buyers, like consumers like you, or restaurant business buyers, to buy and place an order and actually monitor the growth and the feasibility, or the price point prediction, the crop yield prediction for that season, for that specific plant from that specific farm. Also, we're gonna gain revenue from data. We sell a lot of data to business buyers, to farmers, to big farmers, corporations as well. We're gonna have the weather API service, because once we have data collection point in every farm throughout the country, we're gonna have a really precise weather API. We're gonna have feasibility model, financial model, alternative credit scoring for farmers as well. So they definitely they're gonna have can plan the feasibility, the financials, and the first year of the market we're targeting it's about $100 million US per year in Southeast Asia, This is milestone. We're actually launching the platform, and we are developing the AI right now. Our team is experts in weather and AI development from Chiang Mai University in Thailand. These are all lecturers and professors in our team. So our technology is pretty solid and ready to go. Once we work with our corporate partners, we're working with the largest sugar producer in Thailand, also the bank, to help fund our R&D because we are in the accelerator right now. So that's Gadyai. Thank you.
I'm wondering who is this focused on? Looking at that, go a couple slides back for me. Right forward one more. Right there. Hold on. I think it was the one where it was like the dashboard, and they can monitor, see where the things are going from. Like, what's the? Sorry, I'm not remembering the slide for it, but. So farmers are the ones that are logging in to see the solutions, or could people buy?
Right. Actually, this is for farmers, right? This is the most left one is for buyers to see the profiles of the farmers, the plants, and on the right, the two screens, these are for farmers. We actually translate the data into like the insights in words, like what's going to happen. Like, oh, it's going to rain hard in 2 days. You have to do something with your crops, or like this is the current weather forecast, and this is like the status of like the sales and stuff of
for the farmer.
For farmers, yes.
And is there a potential? This is where I thought I saw on one of the slides that retailers could see and purchase produce before it was even ripened.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so
this is the same platform as this one.
That's the slide. Yes, that I was thinking
yes.
of. So there's two customer bases, two people looking at this. There's the farmers who are using data to make decisions about the food that's growing.
Yes.
And then there's buyers wanting to retail that, also looking at data that's gathered from it.
Yep.
Okay. Are there any farmers on the Key People page? I think you talked about some people from university.
Right. Actually, our pilot farms are actually Dr. Shakrit, who's also the weather expert.
Okay, so he's a professor at the university and then also a farmer?
His father is a farmer.
Okay.
But he teaches at a university.
What's the cost and who pays for it?
The cost, we are actually ranging about 2,000 to 10,000 baht per acre, right? But actually, the price actually comes. The cost actually paid by the corporates who are actually buying the food from the farmers.
So if a farmer wants to have those devices in their farm, they would contact you. They wouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, they don't have to pay for it at all. Yeah,
okay.
We're selling data and solution to the corporates, but we install it at the farms.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. All right. Thank you.
All right, so we answered some of my questions already. What are your margins on this? So you talked about $100 million a year just in Southeast Asia, and you said it's about $10,000, right, per?
I mean the market size though, like 100 million USD a year.
So let me back up a step then. Where are you right now? I know you said you're in research and development. You have this on working farms at this point in time?
Actually, yes. We are working, like I said, we are working with the largest cane sugar producer in Thailand. Yep. Because they have like contract farms under themselves, right? So we actually providing these solutions so the factories that buys sugarcane from these farms can actually monitor and actually predict the sweetness of the sugarcane, so they can project like their revenue or the cost and profits.
Okay, and so.
But we're not earning money right now because we're working with corporates. We're having them to use for free, exchanging for data.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so when you do start charging for this, what will be your pricing model and what will be your margins?
I guess the margin would be 30 to 40%, but the pricing it will also depends on like the cost, because like we're talking like about like B2B deals, so can't say like what are the price point right now. But also we collect the subscription and the margin from the sales of the farmers on the freemium tier base. Yeah.
Okay. And so what is the ROI to the farmers as well as to the companies? Or have you not gotten there yet because you're still doing R&D?
Yeah, still working on B2B deals and R&D, but for the farmers, they don't, it doesn't cost them anything, right? Yeah.
Okay. And do you have any plans? Blockchain's really hot right now.
Right.
And I know IBM's doing some work with blockchain with farm and produce, making sure that they're eliminating waste and having,
Correct.
The crops get to the end point without going bad.
Yeah.
So are you implementing, I know you're implementing AI in here, are you implementing any kind of blockchain in this process?
We have thought about it, but I don't think we're gonna do it in the short term, because I think our edge is in like weather forecast and soil analytics data, because we have expert for it, so we can go that route now. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last question is, right now you're in the R&D phase, you're learning from this. When do you plan to go to a paid subscription model and actually start monetizing this?
Q2 next year, so in a half year.
Okay, thank you.
I have a few questions. It seems like the hardest part of creating adoption is probably the farmers, from engaging and understanding the data, wanting to keep like the upkeep of using your solution, and it's that your enterprise strategy is dependent upon that data. How are you pursuing? What is your strategy for that adoption? How are you incentivizing? In a way, it seems like this is going to be a bigger cost on the outside. So how are you getting farmers on board?
Right. Actually, we have done a lot of research, and then visiting the farmers a lot, like almost every month, and then they have the same problem, is that they're trying to sell. They don't have enough distribution channel. For like the very remote farmers, the only channel they have is the market next to their village. And now they're learning about selling on Facebook, opening their own Facebook page, but they still don't know how to do digital marketing. Like, so we're gonna use like the platform effect, and then work on like the community effect. Everyone is selling on Kadia platform, but you have to do providing some data, or like having us installing the IoT kit on their farm for free. So they're just on board.
So it seems like that's there's be some pretty serious upfront costs. How have you been financing this through grants, through university?
Yeah, actually, we started in October last year, and we got $100,000 grant from the government. We raised 3 million baht without giving any equity. And also, we are working with the largest bank in Thailand to give us R&D grant for about $100,000 to $300,000 in 3-year term of R&D. So actually, that's what we are working on right now.
What's the profile of that bank? Like what kind of services do they provide?
You mean the bank?
Yeah.
Actually, they are running an accelerator on deep tech startups, and we are in that accelerator. And they want to have advancing the deep tech they say they're doing it for the country, but they also have an investment arm. Is that if after we R&D phase, if we done something good, I guess they're gonna invest in us. Yeah.
Yeah. On the business intelligence and data subscription, could you give me some ideas as to who would be interested in that aspect?
Definitely the corporates, or like the buyers.
Is corporates, you mean, so the buyers of the food?
Of the food, yeah. Like I said, like the name is Midhorn, the largest sugarcane producer in Thailand. Like, they don't have the data engine to give them insights, what's going on, like what's going to happen in the future. But they already have like the farms, they have the products, they have the market, but they need the optimization in their supply chain.
And are there other kind of parties out there that would also be interested in seeing how like that marketplace between the commodity of sugarcane is being traded?
I think the next step after like the fresh food buyers or corporates are the banks or like the financial institutions, because I have done my background, I have done some fintech startup before, and I know that banks, they want to give out loans more, but they have no reason to give, because there are many professions that can't, that don't have solid like credit scoring, like credit profile. So we are working on providing data and convert that into this financial credit profile, so the bank can actually give finance to farmers and yeah.
Great.
Get the idea. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Great job. And last but not least, we got Dune.
While he's getting that set up, just want to thank everyone for coming tonight and for the opportunity to present. This is my first time presenting this in this type of format, so please bear with me. Also, I'd like to thank my co-founder, Claire Ross. Anything that's visually appealing in this presentation is because of her, so thank you. All right, so I'm here to present Dune. I guess my first question is, and hopefully I see a lot of hands, is how many people took a shower this morning? All right, fantastic. What button did I press? This one. My next question is, how many people used a towel after they took a shower this morning? Well, we're about to have a very difficult conversation, if I can figure out how to make this work, about your towel. There's a Time magazine article in September which said if after 2 days you take your hand towel and wipe your face, there's more E. coli in your hand towel than if you stuck your head in the toilet and flushed it. There's studies that have shown, there's a study that was done testing 30 towels used between 1 and 14 times. 100% of the samples tested positive for bacteria, which is very interesting in relation to like the longer you go without washing your towel, the bacteria compounds exponentially. And user habits, most people, 75% of users do not wash their towels until they've used it 5 times. I hope you're not in that category. So we've done a bunch of surveys to, learn about our customers, learn about the broader consumer market with towels. One of the questions that we asked was, what's the most important thing to you when buying a towel? And as you can see, almost 65% of people said softness and thickness, whereas only 1.1% of people said health and wellness. We then showed them the Time magazine article and asked them the same question, and as you can see what the impact is, and this is just a snapshot of what the impact is as far as what's important to them when buying a towel. But there's a lot of other information that we procured with regards to how much they'd be willing to spend on that product and a lot of other things like that. So we're here to solve that problem with Dune, the first towel that will actually keep you clean. How do we do that? First of all, we know that even if we're going to make a towel that solves that problem, no one's going to want to compromise on softness and thickness. So the first thing we needed to do was obviously find what is the most preferred cotton fibers out there that people really love, and that's long staple Egyptian cotton. And then we needed to figure out how to weave that long staple Egyptian cotton with silver fibers without impacting feel, but maintaining efficacy not only on the first use, but for the life cycle of the product. For those people who don't know how silver fibers work, it essentially prevents the ability for bacteria to grow. And there's a lot of other popular brands that are currently using silver fibers to prevent bacteria from growing their products. What gets me excited about Dune over their products is I don't know anyone who's going to yoga class and then just hanging the shirt to dry. Most people are washing that shirt after they use it. Whereas with towels, you're using your towel at least 5 times before you wash it. So why aren't silver fibers already used in towels? First of all, the retailers, who are the customers for towels, really, that's where most people are buying towels, aren't demanding it from manufacturers. Price is one reason. It does cost more money. There's it's a different manufacturing process. And it's not the easiest thing to figure out, as I've learned over the last year. So over the last 12 months, we've spent time obviously developing brand, doing consumer research. You'll see some of the other stuff that we've done as we get into the deck here. Filed trademarks on Dune. We've been to Portugal a couple times, met with suppliers, and we recently completed our 100-unit pilot production run, which we now have out in customers' hands at their user testing. And we're getting great feedback from people. In fact, this fashion executive, we have to sell the first product to her. She won't let anyone else buy the first product. And the other thing that I like about what we're doing, like why now, is people are focused on cleanliness, as you saw from some of the other brands that we had in the deck. And we're able to do that without compromising on feel. We've been able to develop a product that's in line from like an organic, eco-friendly standpoint. Our towels, technically, you never need to wash them if you don't want to. Obviously, they get dirty from dirt, but there's no bacteria growing on them. And essentially, I think the average person owns about 10 towels, and in the surveys that we did, 56% of people are interested in recycling those. Like I said, consumers are ready to live cleaner, as you see from these popular brands that are doing well on the market. This is what gets us excited about why now is the right time. E-commerce, specifically with textiles, is about to explode, according to Wellspun, which is a market leader in textile manufacturing. And the market is huge for the broader textile market, more specifically with towels. And no one's focused on the towel category with innovative fibers and in the way that we're about to, which is what really gets me excited. We performed a dry run for the product. We set up a website with a fake brand, and we drove traffic to the website using Facebook advertising. We got conversions. We learned a lot of very interesting things from there, including that people are willing to spend a premium price for this product. We're selling product at 75-point gross margins. Here's basically, what we deliver at a premium experience. Here's how we're going to, compel customers to buy our product. There's some target price points, which I view as the worst case scenario, and we can get into more of this stuff, in the Q&A. We look at this, we're hyper-focused on D2C, but I'm a believer that if we properly educate the market on this problem, I want to be the solution, whether you're shopping online at Neiman Marcus or at Walmart. Here's some milestones that we're looking to achieve with this funding. We can get more into that in Q&A. Here's our product line. I just want to get to the team because that's what gets me the most excited. My background is in bringing products to market. I ran a consumer electronics company for 6 years, manufacturing custom electronics. Claire's background is at Red Antler. Our copywriters at Droga 5. Becca Durnan, who's our new team members from ABC Home. And here's some investors and advisors that are involved. Noah Santos is a founder and CEO of Home Polish. Matt Carastesi has driven paid advertising for MGME. Brooklyn and Plated. Carol Kern is the former president of Donna Karan. Garrett Neff is a great dude and happens to be a supermodel with a lot of influencer connections. And that's where we're at.
Hi, Jess.
Hey.
Who are you educating first for this? You talked about the need to educate. Actually, I'll let you just take that.
Our bullseye market is millennial moms. We'll grow from there.
Okay. So educate the consumer first to create demand from the bottom up.
Yeah, what's interesting about the dry run that we did is we kind of A/B tested ads. One of them was just focused on softness, and the other one was focused on antimicrobial. A lot of the traffic that came to our site and converted was through softness ads. So obviously we're going to leverage that in a big way. We do have some interesting ideas around how to really shock the system as it relates to educating the market, but the mechanisms that we're going to use are typically the D2C playbook online, and then also using some of the network that we've been having in our broader advisor network. Noah Santos is the CEO of a huge interior design firm, where it gives us the opportunity to kind of get in front of people who are designing houses for people who are very affluent people and obviously own homes, have families, things like that. So we'll be using a multi-medium approach to get to that market.
Okay. What's the With that market, millennial moms, that's a big market, right? So are you going after a specific brand image with that market?
Yeah, I think from a branding image standpoint, we're trying to like sit, you know, in more the premium like level. Like if you look at the category of like Brooklyn and Bolin Branch Parachute, I would say that we probably align more with Parachute than with Brooklyn Inn. Not that Brooklyn Inn has an inferior brand, they're just, you know, doing a different type of messaging, but we're definitely looking to maintain more of a premium brand. I did mention how there's other channels that we'd like to get into in time. There could be a diffusion brand strategy in order to maintain our premium brand on the direct-to-consumer side.
Do you have any competitors who are doing this similar thing?
There's two companies that are doing an antimicrobial towel. An antimicrobial towel. What I always tell people is I have a friend who's running a mattress business. He's sitting in his apartment on 34th Street making $12 million a year. He's not Casper, but he's running a great business. I don't know what they're doing from a revenue standpoint, but they're not what we're going to be to this category.
Okay. Then who do you think your competitors are?
I would say, so who are our competitors in general, I would say that our biggest problems are probably going to be Brooklyn and Parachute, Bolin Branch. So people ask me the question of like, what's our moat, right? I would break that answer down into a couple things. First of all, the people who haven't even made it yet, the people who are behind us from a startup standpoint, you know, we're ahead of them. So there's lead time to get here. Most people tap out in the process. I mean, I happen to have been in manufacturing. I know how hard it is just to get a supplier to even pay attention to you. So, you know, we're ahead of those guys, and most people will probably tap out in the process. Of the established companies, you have the dinosaurs who don't have millennials aren't interested in those companies. That's why you have Walmart buying Bonitas. And then you have the Brooklyn Inns, the Bolin Branches, the Parachutes, those people, they're sourcing product. They're not developing custom product. We're developing custom product. And so I think we have a leg up on there. But beyond those people as the competitors, the other things, we're going to have an IP strategy, a trademark strategy, and I just believe, you know, I'm just the ultimate believer that, like, you know, I play sports, so let's put our team on the court and let's play between the lines, and I just think we'll have a better team than those guys.
Okay. If I wash once a week with traditional towels, so I have 7 towels, that gives me a week's worth of supplies. If I don't ever technically have to wash this towel other than because it gets dirty, how about the idea, like, do you any idea how long that the prototype is going to last before it wears out? Meaning that could there be a problem with selling because I only need 1 or 2 of these towels, not 7 of them? And then have you considered that for the pricing? Because if I can hang it and dry it and not worry about microbial, I may not need to buy as many of the towels. So you could be selling less towels, or like considering that in the marketing strategy, blowing up so I can reach more people with it, but then they may not buy as many number of towels as we would traditional ones.
So is your question if you had 7 towels that were not antimicrobial?
Correct.
Okay, so then you have bacteria living in your house all week long.
Right, so then since yours are microbial,
Sure,
or antimicrobial, I don't need 7 of them possibly
sure
anymore, so that you could maybe be selling less towels, and then have you consider that in the marketing strategy and maybe build that into the price as well?
Yeah, what I would say is I haven't, the market's so big for towels that I haven't necessarily, like, when I've done our financials, thought through, like, I've really only optimized around people buying 1 towel on a conversion. Like, almost like in our dry run, we saw people buying just under a set is what they were buying, and our sets were selling for $110 and $130. The bath set to the bath sheet set. I would say that we're living in New York. We're not living in big houses that have 5 bathrooms. And if you have a big house with 5 bathrooms, you're going to want to outfit all your bathrooms with towels. So, yeah. And just to, you know, one other thing is, I read a recent study from Cotton Inc., which said people buy new towels every 18 months. We're going to have a social impact component on the back end of this. There was a study by the EPA which said if people in New York recycled 1 more pound of textiles per week than they currently do, it would create 7,000 new jobs in New York. So there could be an impetus or a catalyst for us to go back to our customers and say, hey, you know, why don't you, like, refresh your towel line, and also we can create some jobs in the back end, and there could be there's a lot of stuff that we'll A/B test when we go live, and that will be one of them.
Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
What is your approach going to be when it comes to very large platforms like Amazon?
I mean, initially, I don't have any strategy for Amazon. I don't want to be on Amazon right now. this doesn't, it's not aligned with our brand image. I mean, we'll see where we are. Like, you look at a company like, I don't want to, I'll throw this out there, but I don't know where this aligns from like our brand standpoint, but you look at Harry's, it just rolled out in Walmart, right? Like, I would say that if you would ask the guy at Harry's when he first launched, if you'd see him in Walmart, he'd be like, there's no chance. But at a certain point, you hit some level of scale where going into Walmart makes sense. Right now, Amazon doesn't make sense for us, and so that's not part of the strategy. And I completely understand the power of Amazon.
Yeah, it's scary. Okay, where was your user test? Was that in New York?
When you say the user test, you mean the dry run on the website?
Yeah, the dry run of where you're selling for back from that. And
Yeah, so the dry run, we put up a fake website, and then we went and spent advertising dollars on Facebook and Instagram and drove traffic back to the website and saw what happened, and got an understanding of cost per acquisition, got an understanding of messaging, got an understanding of average order value. It was basically a tactic to go ahead and understand what our unit economics and our conversion economics would be. It was a 4-day test. We spent under $2,000. People actually submitted their credit cards, paid for a product, and then the next day got an email saying, hey, it was a mistake, our website shouldn't be up, we'll let you know when it's up, here's a refund. So we got very good data out of that. As far as the pilot run that we just completed, which was a manufacturing pilot run, we're seeding those towels out to key people here in New York and getting feedback from them as they use it. So we haven't sold any product yet for real.
I guess define key people.
So right now it's been like our broader network, but we're setting up a survey, like a 30-person kind of cohort where we're going to go out and put together like a very formal testing process, and they'll probably go live with that cohort in the next 2 weeks.
How many people are on your team?
So right now it's myself, Claire, we have a copywriter, Michelle Hirschberg, who's unbelievable. We have a developer who's developing the back end of our website, and Becca Dernan just joined from ABC Home. That's our like core day-to-day team. There's a couple people on the advisory slide who are kind of like towing the line between day-to-day, specifically Matt Carastesi, who is the paid guy. We meet with him quite frequently and are talking to him about possibly actually doing paid ads for us, because finding those type of guys are few and far between. We do happen to have a couple of other people on our network who are equally as capable as Matt, but I would say that that's one of the people, and then obviously there's a couple of other people who just could really help us from a strategic standpoint, like Noah. But the core team's about 5 people right now.
And what would you say is the greatest challenge that you face on the day-to-day? It seems like a little bit of that, but what's the biggest barrier that you have right now that's a difficult thing to get over?
The biggest barrier I have right now is just getting my manufacturer in Portugal to move faster. I mean, those guys are always on vacation.
All right.
All right, so they asked a lot of my questions, but I have a few more. So what led you to come up with this idea? What was your aha moment, or where did the idea stem from?
Yeah, I was running a company for 6 years. I got out of that last summer. It was a consumer electronics company, building very complicated products in China, very expensive to make them. And when I was coming out of that, I kind of said to myself, I'm going to go work at a VC, but I still have this entrepreneurial itch. And I live in Williamsburg. I was getting on the subway every day, and I was seeing these Brooklinen ads, and I said, you know what? Let me look into that story. And the Brooklinen story, and I don't know if it's true or not true, but the one that I saw was the guy was staying at the Wynn in Vegas. The sheets were so comfortable he couldn't get out of bed in the morning, so he went downstairs to buy them. They were $800, and he said, F this, I'm going to make this myself. And 5 years later, he's running somewhere between a $50 and $100 million business, depending on what articles you read. So I said to myself, what's another category in the home goods department that I could just replicate that story? And I'm not trying to take over the world. I just want a $20,000 to $30,000 a month side project, that would be fun. So I started looking at towels. There's Patesi towels, $1,000 towels. There's Del Toro shoes that I use for design inspiration. And I said, if I could marry these two things together and have a cool lifestyle thing on social media, I could go get a VC job or do something else and have some sort of side income coming in. And then the Time Magazine article came out, and I was like, holy shit, there's $1 billion opportunity here because no one knows about it.
Okay. I saw on one of the slides something about sheets or something. I don't know if that was you comparing to another company, or do you plan to expand into other areas, or are you just, okay?
Yeah, we're going to get into other areas. We're going to start, I would say that the one thing that might be, that's actually needs to be on this line is like really everything. We're going to focus on the bathroom. These are going to be like our launch line, and then we'll slowly kind of like get into this stuff. Beach will launch for next summer, but baby is going to go like right across the bottom thing here. Is that we're millennial moms, babies, they're focused on antimicrobial, like that's going to be, you know, this is what we're doing first. Once we go ahead and really start squeezing juice out of this, then we'll start looking to get into these other categories.
Okay. And I know you have the 100 user pilot run, and you've talked about how people went on your fake website and put in credit cards and purchased. Do you have any pre-orders at this point in time for when you do hit the market, and what's your timeline for hitting the market?
Yeah, so we raised a small friends and family round last year. We're raising a round right now. We're raising, I would call it a pre-seed round. We'll be shipping to market within the next, like our target is like first week of December, so probably go live with a website, like a full sale website, like right before Black Friday. We have a splash page up right now. We're going to start doing lead procurement in the next 2 weeks. We'll kind of be managing that within the Facebook platform, but we'll be spending, a good amount of money to build about a 10,000 person email list that will flow into a pre-order about like 5 weeks before launch. We're also talking to a potential strategic B2B partner that might kill that pre-order plan. We'll find out more in the next couple weeks if that happens, but there's a popular premium pre-order website out there that is pretty successful that we might partner with on the pre-order. Assuming that doesn't happen and we just do our own, that would flow into like, let's launch the website in right around mid-November and start just selling product with like a 10-day ship date and then just 24-hour shipping in the first week of December.
Okay, and what is your exit strategy?
My exit strategy? I don't think about things that I can't control. So, I just can focus on the things I can control. If you read the well-spun investor documents, these guys are they're salivating for an opportunity to get into the consumer brand space. Like they have nothing. You look at Walmart buying Bonobos. I think that's I don't know if we sell to Walmart, but I just think like those types of things are happening where they have the ability. Like you asked some of the previous pitchers questions about like why can't these guys just go do it? Like they have the capabilities to do it, but they don't have the brand to do it. Like they can't target that audience because that audience just has no interest in them. So there's a lot of people like that. And what's interesting about the towel space is I read a report which said like 80% of people don't even know what brand towel they're using. Like they don't even know what the brand of the towel is. So that creates a big opportunity to go ahead and be the brand that people know about. And what I love about the towel space is no matter where you are in the world, like if you're in America, you want thick and soft. If you're in Scandinavia, you want thin and rough. Like everyone has a different preference, and it really creates an opportunity for us to like kind of incrementally scale across like different regions and different platforms in time. I'm just focused on like, building a nice business, having a fun team, and like kind of doing the things that we want to do, and whatever happens in time will happen in time.
And last question, you've talked a bit about your brand and trademarking your brand and having that brand equity, and really, there's brands that just live off of that brand equity, that, the Lululemons of the world and Valentino's and all that stuff. Are you doing anything, you talked about an IP strategy, but didn't really expand upon that. Are you doing anything beyond your brand and trademarking to lock down maybe the way you're going about your manufacturing or your product itself? So do you have any patenting?
Yeah, all that stuff, like whether it's manufacturing processes, will all be included in our IP strategy. The trademark strategy will be focused on trademarking key terms related to our business, but also protecting ourselves in case someone else comes out with a like product, and locking down every single term that someone might want to think of that might allow them to market the product. So I might let you make the product, but I won't let you market the product. And then your ultimate protection is just having a great team, being the first to market, and owning your relationships. And that's, I'm excited about that part.
Thank you.
All right, great job to all four of our presenters, all right? Hopefully you guys got some entertainment, learned a few things. We're gonna let the judges deliberate for just a minute or two to pick the winner. So chat amongst yourselves about what you've seen, what you've learned. Still got some drinks and snacks up the back if you want. So talk to you in a few. Free consultation with our sponsor Fly Apps, as well as a free estimation by them for the programming work that they do. Seed Lawyers is on-demand legal services. You get 750 credits to their service, and you also get a free month to Spacious to be used not only here, but all of the locations that they use throughout the city. And then for the rest of our participants, you get a free week to Spacious, and you also get 150 credits to Seed Lawyers. Great stuff, great stuff. And then also for our attendees, Spacious is also going to offer you guys a free week as well. So if you signed up through Eventbrite, I have your email. But if you came with a guest or through Meetup or any other channel, we have a sign-up sheet on the bar. You can put your name and your email, and you'll get that free week. So enjoy, hang out, let's a wrap.